YouTube. How's everyone doing? Hopefully, everyone can hear me. So, today, guys, I want to get into how do you truly, how do you truly unlock your full potential, right? And what does that look like? So, each and every one of us has a full potential, right? We all have this thing called potential. But on the flip side of that, we also have capacity, right? And so, although although we all have this potential and the potential to be great and the potential to do great things and the potential to be successful, a lot of times we don't get to that place because of the capacity that we're working under and moving under, right? A lot of times, the reason why we don't reach that level of success that we want and that we aspire to be at is just because we don't have the capacity to truly have the thing that we say that we want, right? So, how do we get to that? How do we expand our capacity to where we'll be able to live out our full potential? Well, the first thing is this: you have to do some self assessment. And I'll tell you why. Because success is 90% mental and 10% physical. I'll say it again. Success is 90% mental and 10% physical. So your success is deeply connected to your mind and your mental and what you think and the thoughts that you think. Not only the thoughts that you think concerning the thing that you're going after or the thing that you want, right? But it's also highly connected to the thing that you think about yourself. So I'll give you an example. Just in my life, I'm a business owner. I'm a leadership coach, and one of the things that I struggled with when I first started out is I started out I started out not feeling as if I wasn't good enough to be a leadership coach. Why? Because I don't have a degree, because I've never held corporate, so to speak, leadership positions, right? So, in my eyes, that made me feel as if I was inadequate to teach or coach or train leaders, right? But that's not necessarily the case. Now, that speaks to your degree and your work experience and stuff like that. Those things speak to your capacity. They don't speak toward your potential. And I'll give you an example. So, how many times have you been, how many times have you worked on a job and the person that was in charge just was a terrible leader, right? He or she was a terrible leader. Um, and you saw it, everybody else saw it, everyone knew it, you knew it. But they got there solely because either tenure or either they had the skill set, they had the capacity to be able to do the thing that the ability rather to be able to do the thing that they set out to do. Like, for instance, let's say that they might not be a great leader, but they might know how to do your job and everyone else's job very well. And they might know how to train people in doing those jobs very well. But all because they know how to do something or do a thing, it doesn't make them a leader. That doesn't make them a good manager of people. That doesn't make them a great um that doesn't make them a great a great manager of people. It just doesn't, just because they know how to do a thing. And so a lot of times we feel like, well, because I've never done a thing, then that means that I can't lead people or manage people or coach people. And yes, you can. Like, you have something to offer this world. You have your full potential. You have potential. You have something to offer this world, and you just have to step into it. You just have to step into it. You have to get out of your own mind, get out of your own way, and just go in and do the thing that you know that you're capable of doing. Like for me, when I really sat down and said, listen, well, what is my skill set? What makes me me? What can I do? What is the thing that I'm good at? I found out I was a great listener. I found out not only was I a great listener, but that I'm good at asking people questions that get them thinking, right? I'm good at asking thought-provoking questions. I'm good at having conversation. I'm good at speaking. Uh, like there's so many things that I'm great at. But in my mind, I felt like, well, because I haven't reached a level of success yet, then that must mean that I'm not that must mean that I can identify. Yes, I can. Like your position, and I'm gonna say this again, your position is not a direct reflection of your potential. Your position is not a direct reflection of your potential. It just isn't. It just isn't. Perfect example. How many of you all have seen the movie Waterboy? Right? It's a very funny movie with Adam Sandler. But in the movie, Adam Sandler plays this character named Bobby Boucher. And if you've ever seen the movie, then like he was he had a drive. He wanted to play football, right? He wanted to play football, and he was great at it. He had great potential for it. But people looked at him and said, well, you're only good enough, right? On paper, you're only good enough to serve us water. On paper, you're only good enough to be our water boy. And it wasn't until he said, you know what, listen, I'm not going to listen to what y'all talking about because I know what's in me. I know my potential, right? And he went out there, tackled this guy, and from that, everybody else was able to see his potential. You want to know why people are not able to see your potential? Is because you're not being active. You're not out there putting yourself out there. You're not out there putting your full potential on display. Listen, this is what I want you all to understand, that you have to put your potential on display. Nobody is ever going to be able to admire the greatness that is you if you don't put it on display. Think about um, think about the Mona Lisa. Think about all these. Think about Michael John Biscott. Think about all of these great artists, all of these great musicians, all of these great painters, all of these great sculptors that we love, enjoy, and revere. Think about all of these great writers that we look up to, all of these great philosophers that we look up to, right? No one would have ever known who they were. No one would ever be grateful for who they were. No one would ever reverence what they do if they never put themselves on display. I want to say it was Socrates. I was listening to something concerning Socrates, and one of the things that they said that Socrates did was Socrates engaged in conversation with people that were considered um, educated at the time. He engaged in conversations with them, right? He put his wisdom, his knowledge, he put his potential on display, right? He put his potential on display. So for some of you, the reason why you haven't really fully unlocked your potential and fully really stepped into the thing that you were created to do, the thing that you're meant to do, that gift that's meant to be shared with the world, is fully because you won't get out of your own way and put yourself on display. You won't put yourself out there. You're afraid to put yourself out there. You are afraid to put yourself out there. Listen, you've read all the books. You have read all the books. You have listened to all the motivational videos. Like, how much motivation do you need? You have to get out there and do something. You have to get out there and put yourself on display. You have to get out there and make yourself available. You don't need another motivational conference. You don't need another mastermind. You don't need to go and buy the latest greatest book on person. No, get out there and do the thing that you said you wanted to do. Get out there and do the thing that you want to do. You have to stay committed. You have to be committed to action, right? So I've developed these principles and I call them the leader shift principles. There's six of them, the leadership principles. And it is based around helping leaders being able to lead themselves, because this is what I found out is that until you can lead yourself, you can't lead anybody else, right? So these principles are called the leadership principles, and there's six of them, right? And so one of the principles is this, that you have to be committed to action. You have to be committed to action. I'll be honest. There was a point in my life, in my business, where I just wasn't committed to action. I would I would go live, but it wouldn't be consistent. I would do podcasts, but it wouldn't be consistent. I would go fishing for clients, but it wouldn't be consistent. I would talk about my business, but it wouldn't be consistent. You have to be committed to action. You got to be consistent in your endeavors. Listen, think about think about water. Think about the force of water, right? Do you want to know how some of the largest, greatest rivers that we know today, like the Amazon and the Nile, were created from persistent, consistent action? From that water, day by day, minute by minute, second by second, carving out the earth. From that water, persistently, consistently carving out the earth. And now we have the now. There's an old saying that says, listen, Rome was not built in a day, right? And that's right. It wasn't built in a day, and it was also built brick by brick. It was built brick by brick. So my question to you is, you want to unlock your potential, you want to be successful. What are you doing? Like, what are you doing to ensure that you're going to be successful? What are you doing? Who are you connected to? What does your environment look like? What are you listening to? What are you hearing? What are you taking into your mind, to your body, to your spirit? Do those things ensure that you're going to be successful or not? Are you listening to things that Like, what are you listening to? Are you listening to things that push you towards success, or are you listening to things that keep you poor? Are you listening to things that push you to wealth, or are you listening to things that keep you in a poverty mindset? Same thing with your people, with the friends and stuff that you're connected to. Are you listening to people that push you toward wealth and that push you towards abundance, or are you listening to people with a poverty mindset? You will only grow. You will only grow. Hear me out. You will only grow to the level that your environment will allow. You will only grow to the level that your environment will allow. So, for many of you, the reason why you haven't grown to the place where you want to go to, you got to change your environment. I remember I would be on the phone with people and they were talking about what they're going to do, what they want to do, what they're thinking about doing. No, listen, that's I'm over here doing. When you figure it out, when you make up your mind that you're going to do it, then give me a call. But as long as you're still wanting and thinking, then I gotta distance myself because that's not conducive to the growth. That's not conducive to my success. That's not conducive to my environment. That's not helping me grow. That's not helping me advance, right? So, listen, I just wanted to give you all things today that you could think about, things that you could, to understand that you have potential locked on the inside of you. There's greatness that is locked on the inside of you. And the way that you unlock that greatness and that potential is that you simply change your environment. And when you change your environment, you change your mindset. What is your environment? What does your environment consist of? Your environment consists of your thoughts. Your environment consists of your words, and your environment consists of your actions. So if you change your thoughts and if you change up your words, you change your relationships, then I promise you, your environment will change. Your environment will change. And you be committed daily to taking action. You take action on a daily basis. And I promise you that you will reach that level of success that you want. Whether for you, whether that level is 60K, 100K, a million, you'll reach it. You will reach it. But you got to change this because success doesn't start here. Success starts here. Being successful doesn't start with your capacity, but it starts with understanding your potential, right? Because people will look at you and say, oh, well, you're only capable of doing X, Y, and Z, but they don't know your full potential, but you do. So, therefore, put your potential on display. My name is Desmond. I want to thank you all for spending time with me today. Listen, so if you have any questions, well, first let me say this. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be coming on here weekly, right? I'm going to be coming on here weekly to give out just different nuggets of wisdom that I've learned throughout my life and business and life in general and things of that nature. So, like, share, and subscribe to catch up and be a part of that. Also, um, if you're saying, listen, coach, like I really enjoy what you're saying, like, and but I'm just fearful, I'm just not as confident as I should be. Listen, schedule a strategy session. Schedule a strategy session with me. Those links are in the bottom, right? So to schedule your strategy session, the link will be in the description. Just go down there and schedule your session. Also, if you guys have any questions or anything that you just want me to talk about um, with this vlog, like my email is down there. You can ask me questions. You can also use that to to give your suggestions on topics that you would want me to talk about. Listen, my name is Desmond Martin, and I've enjoyed our time. I'll see you all next week.